everyone, and welcome to another webisode of my story. So, where were we? Okay, I think I was talking about my heart healing and my attempt to, I really didn't know much about this back then, but it was my attempt to manifest a man. And, yeah, I was oh goodness, I was really trying to work on healing, and I really wanted to manifest a husband and a father for my children. Okay, so whenever I was going through the editing, I noticed that I didn't quite remember my list, and while I was editing, it came to me. My list, number one was that, this is the list that I gave to the universe I was like, I want to find a man like this. And number one was a man that loves me, that's obvious. He's just so in love with me, and I'm attracted to him. Number one, he's so in love with me, and I'm attracted to him. Number two, he wants to be a family. He wants to be a dad. Like, that's really important. Number three is God. He believes in God, but not the Christian God. I wrote that. He believes in God, but not the Christian God. Number four was the video games. He needs to be able to play video games, watch TV, understand the relaxation value in that. And number five was I wanted a nerd, because Zach was a jock. So I wanted a nerd this time. I've already been with a jock. I want a nerd. So that was the criteria that I set out to the universe. And I got back the meditation and the download to quit my job and to get a new job. And so I did. And as I was doing that also, I mean, you guys, I talk about this on these videos, and these videos are just 15 minutes long. But the truth is, this was a good year, 2 years of my life that the days were dragging on, you guys. Like, I put in my dues. I'm not kidding. I did not complain not one day did I complain whenever I had the baby and the toddler and lived on the third story. I did not complain one day. I would just do what I had to do and, take my time. I was all alone, so I had to do it all by myself. And I didn't complain because it felt like I'm putting in my dues, and I did. I put in my dues, and it was a lot. It was a lot. Like, I feel like I have to say it again, because with it just being brushed over in a video, it doesn't give it justice of the blood, sweat, toil that I put in, and me talking about manifesting a guy. I didn't know that's what I was doing back then. I thought that I was just, into spirituality and really, I love God and I'm away from Christianity, but really into spirituality and just trying to heal and find a husband who could be a good father. So, yeah, and I was going to Unitarian church. I loved going to the Unitarian church. I just loved it. I mean, it was an ex-Baptist preacher, because I asked him about it, but it was all old people pretty much that went there. But I loved going there. I loved it. And so I guess I considered myself a Unitarian at this time. I wasn't a Christian, but I was a Unitarian. And I remember going to a psychic fair with my mother, and I mean, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, and we bought crystals, and it was a really fun day for us. And I had my kids and everything, and I remember it was in May, and all that I'm focused on is healing and finding a guy. And at this time in May, I don't think I'd asked for my job back yet, but I sat down with the psychic, and, her first reaction was, which really frustrated me, because, like, how are you going to react like that whenever a customer sits down? Like, are you going to tell me why you reacted like that or not? Because, I don't know, for me, it was like, like, why are you reacting like that? why I don't understand. And then she was like, what's your question? And, I was like, when will I meet my husband? And it's like she was so annoyed. And she goes, is that your question? And I was like, yeah. I mean, that's all that I cared about at the time. And it really made me mad that that's how she asked it. She said that you'll be with him this time next year. And she's like, but it'll only last about 10 years, but you're going to go on to do great things. And I was, at that point, I was so angry at her. She was already paid. And I don't know. I don't resonate with psychics. I usually, back then, I would not pay them for anything. And, my spirituality was like getting into psychic understanding. And, I was trying to talk to angels and stuff like that. But, I felt like they have this attitude that it just rubs me the wrong way. And I just feel like I can do anything a psychic can do. I don't know why, but I feel that way. And I don't feel that way anymore. But back then, that's how I felt. So the transition of that feeling hopefully will come out through my story. But anyway, the transitions of a lot of these stuff will hopefully come out through my story. But yeah, so I remember that. And then I remember working at Old Time Photo again. And, well, whenever I first started work, I went back to work at Old Time Photo. I had to put my kids in daycare. It was like no ends, if or buts. I had to put my kids in daycare. And this was crazy because, okay, I found a lady that watched kids and I thought that it was going to work out, and I dropped my daughter off and she cried and she like freaked out, and Elmo was playing on the TV, Sesame Street, I couldn't stand that I left her crying, and I had to call my boss, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't leave my kid here. I'm going to have to find a better place. And I promise I will find a daycare that I can take my kid to, but I just can't start right away. And she's like, that's okay. She's like, just come in tomorrow or when you're ready. And so I went back and I picked her up, and she was still crying. And the lady was like, they all do that. And I know that they all do that. It's one of the things that I'm good at, is watching kids, and they all do that. And I know that, but I don't know. I just couldn't with my own kid. And so I went back and I got her, and I got, her baby sister too. And we went, and I just nosedived into looking for the best care for my kids. And I figured out that the state of Colorado is the opposite of the state that I came from. And it was really cool because the state that I come from, it incentivizes moms to make their child dumb, because if your child is dumb, you get payment and your child can go to preschool for practically free. They'll come to your house and pick your child up, so it's like a free daycare if your child is dumb. So I literally had friends that it's easy to make your child dumb at the beginning. You just don't interact with the baby, and you let the baby lay there all day, and you pretty much just feed them, and you don't let them tummy time. You don't let them learn to walk or anything. They'll lay there for the first year of their life and never do anything, and then they're not hitting milestones, and boom, mom gets paid and kid's able to go to preschool. So Colorado was the opposite, which made me so happy because I wasn't down for that. I could not do that. My baby girl, whenever my first baby was born, she was already putting her head up. And I mean, we were doing tummy time in the first month. Y'all, she was sitting up at 3 months and crawling at 6 months. She was walking at 10 months. I mean, I couldn't do it. I encourage my kids to learn and grow. And I always have, and I always will. Because I love to learn and grow, and I'm going to encourage my babies to learn and grow. So there's that. You guys, I'm a horrible mom, though. So don't be thinking I'm a good mom. I'm a good mom with babies, okay? I'm really good with babies. And I was really good with my babies. But anyway, I nosedived. I figured out that there's free preschool that is available for kids. And if the older sibling gets in, the younger sibling does too, if the child is able to pass a test. And so I was like, we're getting you tested. So we got her tested, and she, sure enough, was able to go, and I was able to get her into this Head Start program. And I found this lady who was one of the ladies that does the Head Start program, and I was able to get her in and work with her. And this lady, oh, she was just the best ever. She had 4 girls, and they were all older, but she had her own little preschool classroom thing, and it was, I don't know, I loved this woman so much. I love this woman so much. The deal was, because of her scores, because of my baby's scores, they were able to pay for, the state paid for most of it, but I had to pay so much a month, and that was a pretty good deal. So I was paying that a month, and I'm so glad that I was able to get my daughter in that program. It was just so wonderful. So I'm really glad that I did listen to my gut that day, and I turned around. I do not think that that lady is a bad babysitter. I don't think that she would have done anything wrong to my kids. I don't know. I do know that she was not who I got, because I turned around and I decided to dive deeper. So I'm so glad that I did that. But I went back and I started working at O Time Photo, and I was hiring people, and I had hired 3 girls and 3 teenage girls, and for a summer job, and it was a lot of fun. One of the girls, I could not work with her. I was unable to work with her at all. She wouldn't listen. She wouldn't do anything. And I was just like, I don't understand. Honestly, the owner's losing money by having her here. So I went to the owner and I told her that, I said, I can't work with her. She doesn't do anything. You're losing money by having her on the payroll. I want to fire her. And the owner just was like, okay, do it. And I was like, yeah? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so it's really, really strange, though, because I always thought that if I had to fire someone, I would be upset. It would be hard. It wouldn't be easy for me to fire someone. I don't know. In my mind, I picture like corporate office calling me in and be like, Misty, you're going to have to fire this girl. And I'm like, no. Like that's how I picture firing someone would be like. But that's not what it was like at all. Oh my gosh, y'all. I got such a rush from it. Okay, I'm a little bit psychopath, okay? But anyway, I was happy to tell her to go. She walked in. She came in late the day that I was going to fire her. She came in late, and she was an hour and a half late, and she walks in the door, and I was like, oh, you don't work here, but if you want a photo. And she was like, what? And I was like, oh, yeah, you're fired. I was like, you can pick up your check at the end of the week, but you are fired. And she was like, okay, bye. And just turned around and walked out. I honestly don't think that she cared. I don't think she cared. I think that her parents were making her get a summer job. She didn't want a summer job. And I just don't think that she cared. I don't know. I'm not the knower, but I don't think that she cared. Anyway, I started working my job, and I knew I was working the job that I'm going to meet my husband. I'm going to meet my husband here. So I literally flirted with every dude that walked through those doors, whether I was attracted to him or not. In fact, I flirted with the ones I wasn't attracted to for sure, because I look at them as practice so that I know whenever my husband walks in, because number one was I'm attracted to this guy and he's madly in love with me. So I knew whenever he walked in, I would be attracted to him. But I also knew that whenever he walked in and I was attracted to him, I would be scared, nervous as I'll get out and fumble over everything. So I need to practice every day. So that's what I looked like. If the guy came in with a ring on his finger, it was no. I would treat him with respect. I would talk to his wife, not him. Some of them that come in just for pictures of their wife, I would just be like nice to him and everything. But if there was a ring off, it was on. You were my flirt practice, which is not a bad thing. Sales went up, and I think it was a good summer for everyone. But we're out of time, guys. I can't wait to talk to you about the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my story. And I do hope that you are blessed with love always. That's all she got.